Hey everyone, it's Chelsea with Savannah Wren Studios, and today I'm going to be focusing on the balance between our personal life, our work life, and parenthood, that balancing act that seems like we're always constantly trying to focus on. And, today's Messy Yoga Mom is really all about how do we invite in balance when society and everything around us tells us that we shouldn't be within balance, that we should be overproducing all the time and always leaning into more activities and more work and neglecting rest or balance and boundaries within ourselves and within our families. So one of the big things that I really love about yoga, and that was really one of the first things that drew me toward the practice, was its focus on balance. And this comes in a variety of forms. Not only balancing poses, which I absolutely love. It's probably the category that I enjoy the most when it comes to sequences and feeling stable within myself, and also being a barometer for how I'm doing in general. If I feel very out of control and unbalanced, it easily shows up in my balancing poses. And so I really enjoy having that physical manifestation of what's going on internally, that I can tap into on a regular basis. The other aspect of balance that you find in yoga really has to do with this idea of balancing the dominant side of your body and your non-dominant side. Whether your dominant side is being right-handed, or left-handed, it really has to do with the fact that your non-dominant side is about receiving energy and processing energy, bringing it in so that you can then decide how to manifest it through your dominant side of your body. Your dominant side is all about progress and being productive and manifesting everything in that outward energy of output. And one of the things that I've noticed since really leaning into my yoga practice is that my dominant side, which I tend to be right-handed, is always overproducing, and I'm not taking in as much as I am producing. There's this imbalance with my work schedule, my family, my own, experiences, and a lot of times I just don't have the energy for my yin side. And I've noticed that you find that in all aspects of our society. They're always talking on the news, well, how can we get productivity up? I'm pretty sure that American society is being pretty effing productive all the time. So much so that they take their work home with them and they don't get a whole lot of hobbies. And they have a lack of boundaries and a lack of self-care because they're producing so much all the time. And it's one of those things that yoga helped me realize, that rest is just as productive, and that restorative yin side is just as important as the active manifesting yang side. And so, now I spend a little bit more time really trying to focus on my own self-care and my own self-love, focusing on my boundaries so that I have rest. And it's really a balancing act, especially when it comes to being a parent. Sometimes it's easier to find a little bit more balance between home life and work life than, say, personal needs and the needs of your family and friends. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to focus on, is finding that balance between your needs and your boundaries and that of your family and your friends. For an extremely long time, I really didn't have any boundaries when it came to my kids, other than, hey, I'm going to the bathroom, please get out of the bathroom. I don't need you in here with me. Whether it was co-sleeping, or my children eating off of my plate, or me putting all of my children's needs before my own and not getting to my own food until it was absolutely cold. Doing their projects instead of the projects that I wanted to do, which, don't get me wrong, it's normal to be hyper-focused on your children, your friends, and or your spouse, and what they want and how you can support them and bring joy into their lives. But at some point, you have to set a boundary that says, hey, I'm not giving it anymore. I've already given as much as I can, and I need to rest now, and I need to focus on some of the things that I want to do. I was talking to a client a couple of weeks ago, and she was struggling with this idea of being everything to everyone except for herself. And she said, I'm constantly serving myself up to other people's needs and other people's had an Isaac Newton moment right there with an acorn. But regrouping, she felt like she was always at the beck and call of other people, whether it was hosting or cooking or, counseling and doing all of these things for other people, and never having time for herself and her needs. And, I leaned into our Zoom, the camera on Zoom, and I told her, hey, you're not a platter. You aren't made to just be served up for everyone to feast on and leave nothing of yourself remaining. And, while that, really hit home for her, one of the things that I really enjoy about coaching and working with other people is that I can find nuggets of truth and insight within my coaching work that helps myself. And, it's one of those things that I have a natural tendency to be that hostess, that server, that person that's the one that gets all of everything done and that's flittering around, seeing to the needs of others and nurturing others. But I can't do that if I'm only ever doing it for other people. If I'm not leaning into balancing out those relationships so that I feel balanced and get my moment for pause and restoration, then I'm no good to myself, and I'm definitely no good at helping anyone else. And I think about this when it comes to my children as well, because if I'm feeling depressed or anxious or have low energy or stressed out, I'm not going to be able to work with them effectively on their homework or guide them through their chores or help them with their reading and playing games. I just won't have the energy to do so, and it'll not be a fun experience for any of us. And so I make sure that I'm putting up that balancing act between my needs and their needs and the needs of my husband to make sure that I'm not overexerting myself and making everything out of balance, because that doesn't serve anyone. And, I had this thought years ago when I was still in Oklahoma and I was working on my dissertation and trying to raise 2 sets of twins, and I felt lost. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I belonged. I didn't feel like I had a relationship with my husband, and I didn't have a relationship with my kids, because I as a person really didn't exist. I was absorbed into everyone else around me, and there was nothing left for me. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. If I can't balance this and make time for the things that I love and for the things that support my soul and my health, then I'm not going to be here much longer. And that's when my husband and I started working on ourselves. We started working on our relationship with our kids and our relationship with the house and work, going through our traumas, trying to invite in that balance. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is really hard, because so many things are vying for your attention at any given time throughout the day, and you have to be able to lean into your boundaries to say, no, I've had enough. I need to focus on myself. No, I can't really do this today. I can get to it later this week. Or, hey, we can do it, but we're going to do it in the most efficient way possible so that we're not wasting time and energy on something that we could call in a little bit of help for balance. And, a lot of times that balancing act for me, I see it manifest most often with, ideas around parenthood of you have to give your children all of these experiences, and you need to focus on their education and make sure that you're getting all of these extracurricular activities. And do you have a membership to the zoo and this place and that place, and how often do you go, and are you doing homework every night? Are you reading to them every night? Are you playing with them every day? Are they going to music classes and exercise? And at some point it's overwhelming, and you have to say, I've got to balance this energy of output for my health and for the health of my children. If I'm constantly pushing them to get everything in, nothing is going to get done, because all of us shut down and go into freeze mode because of the stress of all of these expectations that we put on ourselves and that other people put on us. And so that's one of the things that I try to be mindful of with regards to being a parent, is not pushing my children to do everything that is available to them. Really listening to who they are and what they're interested in, and saying, let's focus on these few things and how we can make them a multi-sensory, multi-learning platform for you, rather than having a million things to do. So I would love to hear your thoughts on finding balance within your life. Do you feel balanced on a pretty regular basis? Do you live more in a state of imbalance? What are you focusing on, and where are you putting your energy? So feel free to drop your answers in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this workshop on balancing your life and parenthood, consider liking the video, sharing, subscribing, any or all of the above, and I will see you at the end of the month when we come back to Messy Yoga Mom and focusing on self-love and self-care. So until then, I'm Chelsea with Savannah Wren Studios, and I'll talk to you next time.